So I got to ask, did you have anything good on the smoker tonight?
No, we're still kind of we like to do leftovers, and we're
Yeah.
still doing a leftover sirloin tip from last night. So
Okay.
no, slice it up. And the only thing Karen and I talked as we drove. We dog trained today, so we a good hour's drive each way. And the only thing we kind of regret is we did not break out the slicer. I guess you could call us lazy, but the slicer requires a good amount of effort
Oh yeah,
to
sure does.
get that thing cleaned back up. So we did not. That's the only thing that would have made it better was the slicer, but we didn't break. It was just a little one. If we did a maybe 8, 9, 10 pounder, we would have. But this thing was just little, so
Yeah.
we just hand sliced it. But no, nothing. It's sitting right over here in the corner. Nothing on tonight, but we did enjoy it last night.
Yeah, you're always making me hungry with all those good posts on Instagram, man.
Well, thank you, thank you.
You've been doing that a long time, smoking stuff on the pit?
Yeah, I think probably 2016. Maybe we really dove in hot and heavy.
Okay.
Yeah, probably ever since then. Yeah, it's the old address we were at had a couple different. I mean, we like literally cooked outside all the time. We had a vertical smoker. We had the basically just a pellet grill. But we also had a vertical smoker that ran off pellets, and we used that. I mean, I do my mom's biscuits for her on Sunday, kind of thing. We use that for a little bit of everything.
Yeah. Yeah, those pellet smokers are the way to go. I resisted for a lot of years, but man, it's nice not to be babysitting
Yeah.
a smoker with those things.
We resisted also, and we even in the beginning we even kept our gas grill, because we're going to still use the gas grill, and like we found out pretty quickly that we don't really need a gas grill anymore. So that thing,
Sure.
it happened pretty quick.
Yeah.
The switch over.
That was my point of no return when my wife said, as long as the brisket and the pulled pork taste the same, then you can get rid of the other smokers, and
Yep.
it worked out. So
Very nice, very nice.
So everybody, if you haven't recognized my guest voice tonight, I'm sure you've all heard of him, Mr. Jeff Coates, Pittboss Waterfowl.
Very kind, thank you.
Appreciate you taking time to come on the show tonight.
100%, man. I enjoy talking. So like I said earlier, I'll ramble, so you may need to reel me back in.
Yeah. I'm sure there's probably not too many people left out there that haven't heard of you, but if you wouldn't mind doing a quick intro and walking us through how you got started in waterfowl.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. I'm Jeff Coates. I happen to be a U.S. Coast Guard licensed captain. This past season was my 25th season of running Pittboss waterfowl. Basically, I really kind of, in the beginning, maybe didn't target 100% on sea ducks, but sea ducks is my niche. I take people sea duck hunting. Back in the day, it was a 107-day season. Even if duck season was only 30 days in Atlantic Flyway, you still had 107 days for sea ducks, and a lot of that's changed over the years. But right outside. Currently, I'm in Whaleyville, Maryland. It's just outside Ocean City, Maryland, and I enjoy doing what I do. My wife Karen, she gets and understands me. She's part of everything that I do. And the old slogan, ducks, dogs, and decoys, is pretty much what we do 365 days a year. Currently, I struggle. Maybe I'm dog training too much and not carving enough. But I put my time in yesterday on some decoys. I did not touch decoys yet today. When they're not going to get touched today, probably.
Okay.
I mean, I guide full time. The sea duck. There is no more special sea duck season anymore, but my duck season currently is 60 days. So very fortunate we'll be full for those 60 days. And just trying to, I guess, try to live the dream, I guess.
So who got you started in waterfowl?
Who got me started in waterfowl? I really entered waterfowl hunting through turkeys, believe it or not.
Okay.
And way back in the day, it would have been 1987. I guess it would have been. I worked for a civil engineer firm, and one of the fellows there was heavily into waterfowl. He had not turkey hunted, but I wasn't heavily into turkeys, but I had turkey hunted some, but really wanted to go duck hunting. So I took him turkey hunting, and in turn, he took me for my first duck hunt. And pretty much ever since that, I've been hooked. I really do have to say, with my guiding, probably my number one mentor with sea duck hunting and just kind of dialing me into guiding was Donald Hughes. He passed away in 2004. But he taught me about the internet, He taught me a lot of things. He always would say he was full of useless knowledge, but man, I really appreciated his knowledge.
That's great. So what inspired you to start your own guiding business?
In a different life, I was married. I'm currently married, but marriage number one, kind of went through a little change of life at a younger age. Got married young, 23 years old or so, and at 6 or 7 years past that, I just made a change in life, and kind of the joke, I guess, is I guide because I didn't want a real job, and I kind of bought in. We were. My daughter's mom, well, I was married, but I don't know if I want to refer to her as my daughter's mom or my ex-wife, but regardless, we were in a family business, so kind of self-employed at that time. And so I guess that I have to give some credit there, especially to my ex-father-in-law, because he did teach me many things about being self-employed. And although maybe, guiding and duck hunting isn't the normal business or the normal small business, I kind of took a lot of those things that I learned with our small business and kind of try to apply them to waterfowl hunting. But kind of I would say it was a rebellious kind of thing, but definitely just kind of a change of life where, I did not want the real job.
Okay.
So to speak.
Sure. So you were doing some hunting before that. What do you think was the biggest challenge in turning that hunting passion into a business?
I guess in the very beginning is having support of my family, specifically at the time my mother, just having her support, and especially with my daughter was very young at the time. My daughter Molly was, I guess she would have been 3.5, 4 years old when we got separated and got divorced. And with having a visitation with her, my mom helped out quite a bit with that. But that was probably some family support and helping me and allowing me to make the change of I want to say not having, well, in our small business, I took a check, I took a draw, so I did have a regular pay, but kind of making the transition from that to basically kind of only getting paid, basically October through January. And again, back in the day, it was 107 days, so pretty much it was always open during duck season. So I guess that was number one. And then number two, just because you say you're a guide doesn't mean that there's people, calling you and knocking on your door say, hey, let's go.
Right.
So in that very beginning, it was a little on the slower side.
I'm sure. So you've been around a long time. How's the waterfowl industry changed since you started? What do you think are maybe like the top 3 things?
Did you just call me old?
No, I just said you were doing it a long time.
I'm just messing with you. I have a birthday coming up this year, and this one may bother me a little bit, but the one 10 years ago didn't bother me as much.
Sure.
But this one may affect me a little bit. What has changed? Like with more of here in Maryland specifically, or at the Atlantic Flyway, more of the like duck seasons. I can go that route. I can tell you there's a whole bunch more people that are guiding today that 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, I knew they hunted, but they didn't guide.
Okay.
So there's been so I'll rewind. I'll answer my own. I'll stop. The seasons. So the special sea duck season, again, our regular duck season was 60 days. In Maryland, we had a week in October, 2 weeks in November, and then mid-December to the end of January. But the special sea duck season was always open. It was 107 days open, kind of that first Saturday in October, and went to the end of January. So that was many years. The special sea duck season was there. They reduced the special, and the sea duck limit was 7 birds with no more than 4 scoter. So when they reduced the special sea duck season to only 60 days, they reduced the 7 bird limit to 5, and in that 5, you still couldn't have any more than 4 scoter, but now all of a sudden there's a 4 old squaw longtail duck limit and or a 4 bird eider limit in that special sea duck season. That went on for 6 years, and then they've, because of, again, more interest, more guides, more people shooting sea ducks, they did away with the special sea duck season, and now currently, doesn't matter what state you're in the Atlantic Flyway, whenever duck season's open, you can target sea ducks, and specifically in Maryland, it's a 6-bird limit. But in that 6 birds, you can't have more than 4 sea ducks, and in the 4 sea ducks, you can't have more than 3 of one species. So I've definitely, long-winded to say, I've definitely seen the season change, the bag limit change, and then also I've definitely seen much more interest in shooting sea ducks.
Yeah, for sure. So, being in the Atlantic Flyway, is there anything that has you hopeful for the birds that use that flyway?
If anything, I'm on the worried side.
Okay.
Again, we already established that I'm older. When I first started duck hunting, regular duck season in the Atlantic Flyway, specifically Maryland, was a 30-day season, 3 duck limit. And again, sea ducks was still 107 days then. But yeah, when I first started duck hunting, it was only a 30-day season. So very maybe selfishly or very personally, because of there is no more special sea duck season. Will the 60-day duck season last forever? I have to say probably not. Yeah. There's gonna be a change somewhere. So does it drop to 45 days or does it drop to 30 days? And when it does, that cuts my season in half or 2/3, right? So I can only my sea ducks right now I can target are 60 days, but if it drops to a 30-day season or a 45-day season, those are my days I can shoot sea ducks. So I don't know. Donald Hughes taught me way back in the day. Things run in cycles. We've definitely been on a very upswing cycle of it's been 60 days forever. That little story I just told you about, 30 days, 3 birds. I tell younger guys that here, and they're like, "What are you talking about?" Like that was duck season, and they're like, "No, it wasn't." I said, "Yeah, it was."
Yeah.
It's been. If I had to guess, I'd say probably. It's probably been a good 24, 26 years that it's been the 60 days. But prior to that, it was not. So I don't know. We'll see. Much like, I'm going to ramble, but much like I used to target Brant back specifically when it was a 3-bird limit. But this past couple of years, it's only been a 30-day 1-bird season. And I still, it's going to be open this year, but I mean, they're super close to that season will be closed. They need to be at least 100,000 birds in Atlantic Flyway for there to be a season. And I heard and they count them during the winter count, and the index, if you will, was 105,000. So I mean, there's I'm gonna say I don't want to be like doom and gloom, but I think maybe we're kind of starting possibly to go on a downward swing or downward cycle.
Yeah. Yeah, it was tough when we went to that 2 mallard limit in Pennsylvania for the longest time. I know a lot of guys got out of waterfowl hunting, and that hurts everybody. That hurts the retailers, that hurts the manufacturers, that hurts the state agencies. So yeah, that's why I was trying to, when I asked you if you saw anything positive, because it's hard to really talk about a whole lot of the positives. It just doesn't seem like there's many there.
I think for 2 years with COVID, they didn't do any flying, and then I have to think back to it was a Brant, like I'm going to use Brant as an example. It was a 50-day season, 2 birds, and they continued that through those years that they didn't do any aerial flying surveys for those winter counts. And it's just like the AP goose, that's on the Ungava Peninsula. They didn't do any studies on those during that period either, and kind of the season stayed the same. So I don't know if it's maybe a little bit catch up from that. I don't think ducks were as affected as much as Brant and the AP goose there, but still, if they're not doing any whatever they do, and I always, I'm going to rewind a little bit. I always kind of think too, like the whole duck count thing. It's more like an index, right? It's not the exact number of birds, but it's the way I always thought of it as an index. As long as they're kind of doing it the same every year, it's a good barometer to what the population is. It's up or down. But I mean, when they give you those numbers, they say that I don't believe that that's the exact population of waterfowl.
Right. So do you get to chase puddle ducks much, or you spend most of your season out on the big water?
Yeah, these days, especially again with no special sea duck season anymore, I definitely, I'm nonstop on sea ducks. When the Brant limit was bigger, more of a longer season and or the bigger bag, I would in the afternoons go, fun hunt myself on that. But really these days, my only fun hunting for specifically puddle ducks would be, we usually take a trip, usually October, November. This past year we went up in December, but Prince Edward Island, Canada, and that's kind of been the most of my duck hunting these maybe since about 2017.
Yeah.
That's been the majority of my puddle duck hunting.
Okay. I know guys further south of you have told me about their concerns with some farm-raised mallards getting mixed in with the population there. Have you seen any of that where you're at?
Well, I mean, Maryland, whether they're registered or not, Maryland is a big state to release mallard. RSAs, regulated shooting areas. There's two ways to set them up. You can set it up that your property, the birds you release, you can shoot them during duck season. They don't count to your duck limit, so as long as it's got a clip toe, it's not a wild bird, so you can basically shoot as many as you want of those, or they set them up as like a flighted, released tower shoot kind of thing. I think that goes from September 1st to March 15th or something in that ballpark. But no, we have a tremendous amount of, when I say tremendous, to me it's a lot of RSAs and regulated shooting areas and released mallard here in Maryland.
Interesting. So you said there's a lot of guys that have come on board, got into guiding the last 10 years or so. You're obviously doing something very right. What do you think sets Pittboss Waterfowl apart from everybody else?
I think part of it is that I've been doing it the length of time that I have been doing it. Again, Donald Hughes taught me a tremendous amount back in the day. He helped me get a strong internet presence. Again, back in the day, starting out, I would run an ad in Wildfowl. That definitely helped put me on the map. I would get, if I subscribed back in the day to Wildfowl, but if I didn't, I could tell you when the magazine came out because I get phone calls and emails pretty strong, little spike or influx of people wanting to hunt. I don't know. Today, I guess probably, pretty much, I try to take videos daily, and I know that the videos that I post up, whether they're good or bad, there's one that's just over 35 million views here recently on Instagram.
Wow.
And it's just all like negative. There was, I don't know, there's 15, 20 replies to that video today alone. And it's pretty much it. It's some people that hunt, but basically it's people that don't hunt, and it's very negative. But to answer your question, I think part of that presence that I have of posting up, basically, I won't say they're raw videos, but I mean it's what I do every day, and I think that definitely helps. But maybe more of that, I've just done it so long. Is probably, I guess if I had to rank everything there, I'd say probably the length of time that I've done it.
Sure. And I think those videos give a really good insight into a lot of what you do for your customers. I mean, even little things that are probably like you don't even pay attention to anymore, like serving chowder on the boat and, keeping everybody comfortable. That's that little bit of stuff goes a long way with people.
Well, thank you. I mean, ultimately, it is a guide service, right? So it is a service-based business. And again, like, I'm going to give Donald credit for the soup or anything that I would, do cooking, that kind of thing. But, I mean, he really did kind of help dial me in back in the day of, like, this is not that, it's almost like you need to be the cruise director, right? Somebody's going to come here, right. A group of guys are going to come here for, 3 days. Like, you got to tell them about the area. You gotta, they just don't want to hunt. They want to go get good food. They want to go see different things that maybe they haven't ever seen the Atlantic Ocean, right? So you gotta think, even though that's something that's very daily for me, something that maybe is not a daily occurrence for them. So like, it's just, sure. I call it being the crew. When younger people ask me, guys specifically, hey, I want to be a guide, how, what, it's like, it's more about people skills. It's, yes. Can you, it's not about me hunting. I don't take my gun anymore. I really don't. So it's not about them hunting. Right. It's about them providing a service, providing a good time to people that are paying hard-earned money. And they're giving it the guide or the guide himself or the guide service. So it's that kind of thing where like it's a service and you really do need to provide a service. Over the years, have I fallen short? There's a couple instances where I can remember they wanted to shoot Brant specifically. I didn't take good notes, or I didn't remember, and the Brant season got shorter, and the Brant season wasn't open when they showed up, or when they were en route. And I was like, hey, look, let's just rebook. And they're like, no, we already got our plane tickets, on and on and on. And that's a trip I would guess that I probably got cussed a little bit here and there, just because it was just, one day sea duck hunting, it was super, super rough. Two of the four guys were throwing up. The next day we go out, it's like glass, and like we hardly had a bird decoy. So it was a 2-day hunt, and I know they went away saying like, what did we just do? Kind of thing. But I did say, hey, let's just do it next year. I'm like, no, we're coming anyway. We're coming anyway. So am I perfect? No, but I really do try to put my best foot forward and provide the service.
Yeah, well, it definitely shows. You've been
Thank
around doing it long enough. Like I said, you're definitely doing something right there. So you mentioned getting an early start in the internet and having a website and things. It's interesting. I'm only about 9 years behind you. We grew up in a time without cell phones, without internet. But you've built a pretty strong social media following. Was that intentional, or did that just kind of happen?
I mean, so let's forget about social media, but let's just say the internet itself. Again, I'll say Donald Hughes. He taught me all about the internet in 1994. And he's like, look, this is something you need to learn, and this will help you grow. But at the same time, you're going to bring attention to yourself, and there's going to be others that will want to do what you're doing too. So you're kind of creating maybe some of your own competition, but you're going to really need to learn this and do this, because this is how you're going to grow, and this is how you're going to promote yourself. So that said, like let's say specifically Instagram, my daughter got me into it. I was like, I don't know, I don't have that much time, on and on and on. And specifically back in the day, I took a lot of still photos. She's like, it's just about pictures. Well, today it's kind of evolved into maybe more video based than pictures.
Yep.
That kind of thing, right? But anyway, I just remember, I signed up, and I was like, wow, if I could, maybe get 1,000 followers, that'd be cool. So it just kind of evolved of like, I guess if you want to say I'm a little bit of addicted to it, you could say that. But on the serious side, honestly, with everything that I do, I mean, like, if Karen could hear me, she'd agree, because I take the social media aspect of what I do very serious, and it's part of the job. And I get up amongst weather and other things that I look at, like let's self promote.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much what you do. I had a couple other people in the industry way back in the day, tell me, hey, and they taught me this, that like, I can't say I'm the best. If you want to say that I'm the best, well then, okay, it's Brian's opinion, and Jeff must be good. But if Jeff says it, not to talk about myself in the third party, but if I say it about myself, I'm going to come across arrogant, ego, whatever words, whatever negative word you want to put. So it's like kind of that fine balance of like, how do you promote yourself? How do I promote myself, but don't come across as that, hey, Jeff's ego or Jeff's arrogant kind of thing. So it's that kind of a fine line. And I mean, the stuff I post up, just like with the cooking and everything else we do, I mean, it is real. It's who I am. And it's do we think about do we think about certain situations? Sure. But I mean, pretty much everything I do is it's real, it's live, or it's off the cuff. It's not, it's not, I don't say, hey, let's set this here, let's bring this over here, and, but,
yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's very organic. I mean, one of my favorite things is when you go live carving decoys. It's
thank you.
It's just real, and you're being yourself, and you're humble, and just having fun. That really comes across. So what you're trying to project and what you're saying there, it definitely comes across that way.
Thank you. I mean, that's the true intent, and pretty much, again, like everything we do, it's real, and it's the life that we live, and good or bad. I mean, Karen, in the beginning, it took her a little while. I've been with Karen since 2013. We got married in 2016. And it took her a little bit, today she'll still probably tell you she doesn't appreciate when I, point the camera in her face, but, but she, she's kind of gotten over that, and kind of, hey, that's Jeff. That's what we got to do.
Sure.
We've been dog training recently with a bunch of different people. So she's filming me running the dogs, and there's been some fellows there like, to our friends, like, hey, what are they videoing? Like, what are they doing? Like, is this good? Is this bad? Like, should we be, like, what are they doing? Kind of thing. It's like, that's what they do. That's what they do.
Yeah.
So I do have to say, it's like it definitely has kind of taken. I didn't edit anything yet today on the computer, but I mean, I downloaded everything that she sent or that she took today, and I think we're gonna have a slow morning tomorrow, so I'll kind of catch up on it tomorrow. But like, I definitely put effort into to doing what I do, and regardless whether it's the guiding, ducks, dogs, or decoys. I mean, I put all the effort that I can because it's all that I do. I put it into it.
Absolutely. So you mentioned that you get a lot of negative feedback. What do you think is the number one thing that you hear from everybody that's hating on you?
So people that hunt, it's just that. Sorry about that. People, actually, a couple. My neighbor. So you can't see it obviously, but there's wood. Stop. There's woods right there. His driveway goes up to he has a small pond, like literally right at the front porch. And wood ducks, he has 3 wood duck boxes, and the wood ducks, actually, Scooter just saw them, but the wood ducks came through and they fly up his driveway in between the woods there. But what do people hate on? There are, in the beginning, especially during duck season, I will check to see, like, some of the comments you can tell. If you can tell, hey, why are they shooting rifles in the ocean? Or all that lead is now on the bottom of the ocean. Well, that's obviously somebody does not. They may hunt, but they don't waterfowl hunt, right? So you can kind of dismiss those comments. But there's people that hunt kind of just ragging on people missing. There's this whole thing when a duck lands and they're shooting it on the water. Is that a bird at rest? Is that illegal? I've actually had a few good DNR friends that follow along with me too, what we're doing, and they kind of laugh at the videos, but I've even questioned them and like, hey, when these people say this, like, to me, it's not. I mean, we just didn't, the bird flew in. I guess if you want to say it landed, but is it at rest? To me, at rest is if there's a pond over there, and I know people jump shoot, geese, specifically snow geese all the time.
Sure.
If there's a pond, those birds are over there sleeping, resting. That's different than when a bird comes in, which I would tell you, if somebody wants to go back and watch that 35 million video reels, the bird definitely got touched as it came in. So it's not like it's unharmed. They were shooting at it as it came in, but then it was a big swell. The patterns don't look very good. And there's many shots to get this bird. So to answer your question, there's people that hunt that are kind of ragging on, hey, if I was there, or you need to get better hunters because I could have killed that bird. I was like, all right, well, come on and show me how you can do this. But I would say that's probably only maybe about 15, 20%. The rest of it is just people that just don't hunt, and specifically, I would say are from Europe or Australia, not from North America.
Okay,
it seems to be. But anyway,
yeah. Man, I hope I get good enough someday where I can make fun of somebody for missing.
I can miss with the best of them, though.
No doubt about it. So what do you think? No, go ahead.
I was going to say, and to be fair, honestly, even though my boat's very stable, again, you're on the ocean. There's a swell.
Oh, yeah.
The boat's rocking and rolling. If somebody doesn't get off their seat and get their butt off a little bit, we talked about it today, dog training, because somebody questioned me about these videos. I was like, I've actually seen people take and lay their gun barrel on the gunnel of the boat. It's like they're just at the mercy of the boat moving. And again, like it's just, and a duck on the water is very hard to kill, especially with larger shots. So anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
I'm sorry I interrupted you.
That's okay. What do you think your most memorable hunt of all time was?
Man, I have many of them, I would say. We used to film for a DVD series and a TV show. There's some West Coast hunts with certain friends of mine, state of Washington, and in Idaho, and in Oregon. That there's some shooting really people. Okay, stop. Shot my Harlequin in Washington. I shot Barrow's Goldeneye way back in the day in Washington when you could still shoot 7 of them. Got to shoot the Snake River with a very good friend of mine. That's a very memorable hunt. We got to shoot cacklers with fellows from Dave Smith Decoys. That's something that's very memorable. I've been out on the West Coast. Or specifically northwest. Been out on St. Paul Island, shoot king eider there. There used to be and they've done away with it also, but there was a February sea duck season specifically to shoot eider on the Bay of Fundy. The tide there where we hunted was 35 feet. It's 6 feet an hour. You could as you're sitting there on the rocks, you can see the water rising. It's 6 feet in an hour. So there's those trips going to PEI early on. That's why we go back to PEI, Prince Edward Island, Canada now. I'm sure I'm probably leaving something out in there. But those are some very memorable hunts. My old dog Coot, that's not with, she hasn't been with us for many years. Got to shoot canvasback with her on the Delta Marsh in Manitoba. That's something that jumps out at me. I don't want to say that I've been everywhere and done everything, but I do have lots of great memories. And I have memories that I still want to make. There's still certain bucket list hunts that I want to go do. So,
for sure. Do you have a favorite species?
I guess if you had to say one duck, well, I love Brant, and Scoter are near and dear to my heart. The little dog sitting next to me, her name is Scoter. She's only about 26 months old. Duck, I would have to say almost honestly a Barrow's Goldeneye. You can shoot one on Prince Edward Island, Canada. It's probably the only place that I know on the East Coast that you can go and consistently shoot a Barrow's Goldeneye. And Karen and I both went and shot one. I've shot them there before in 2010. And again, we could shoot 7 of them in Washington back in the day. And we went back up this year to shoot one. So maybe that, if I had to say a duck, that may be my personally favorite duck to target. But Brant is very high on the list too.
Okay. What's the craziest thing you've ever seen while hunting or just being outdoors in general?
Like as far as birds go, like there's a little bird. It's kind of the joke is I've said that they're flying. It's a flying penguin. Basically, it's a little bird called a razor-billed auk. If you recall the hurricane that landed in New Jersey, Sandy, back in the day, we'd have seen a few prior to that. That year, we saw a tremendous amount of razor-billed auks. Kind of got them, I guess, mixed up a little bit. That they would come south. We don't shoot those. We have shot 5 over the years here on the ocean. We have shot 5 king eider, and the last 2 king eider were Drake king eider. So that's kind of an oddity, something that was very actually. The last one we shot, it flew through. I yelled out eider, and it hit the water. And I'm like, I wanted to call my shot before we went over and picked it up. I was like, I don't want to upset anybody if it's not. But I said, I just want to go on record as that's a king eider. And they're like, are you sure? I was like, take a look at it, man. Like I'm looking at it. It sure looks like a king eider to me. Anyway, went over there, was a king eider. So cool. we see some harlequin here in Maryland. We've decoyed them before. We can't shoot them, so that's kind of a neat oddity that would decoy. Now that's probably as far as birds go. I've seen gun parts and pieces go overboard before. Springs and shims go, and when somebody's messing with their gun, and I've seen guys shoot a gun with no choke and the barrel never explode or anything, but like, as I'm sitting there like looking down the road, I was like, well, what's wrong with his gun? Like, what it would have a bulge in it, that kind of thing, and he didn't have a choke in his gun. Stuff like that. That's probably the knock on wood, never anything, negative as far as, dangerous or life threatening as far as being on.
Okay.
We're out in open water all the time. I have plenty of safety equipment on the boat. I have my little safety speech that I say each morning. Quite often, because where we're at in Ocean City, I call the Coast Guard each morning just to say, hey, when somebody calls you, because I am waving a black flag, it's us. They appreciate that. But now over the years, haven't really run into I can't say anything negative hunter to hunter kind of thing. Non-hunter to us, haven't really experienced anything like that. Do see some weird comments on some Facebook groups of like again, like, why are people? I was walking the beach, and why are people shooting rifles in the ocean, or that kind of thing. So
Right.
people always send me those screenshots, say, hey, look, they're talking about you, or that kind of thing. But nah, over the years, it's been I've seen pretty much. I think the only duck I can tell you that we've never shot over a sea duck rig would be a cinnamon teal. Cinnamon teal. We don't see Barrow's Goldeneye. But other than that, I think we've shot every duck someplace or another, over
That's
the sea
interesting.
duck rig. I kind of think that, people want to tell me how stupid sea ducks are, but like that, we're sitting in an open boat and have a Canada goose circle 3 times and land like in the decoys. I think more of what I tell people is that, birds are conditioned, and open water does not, offer them or serve that much negativeness, if you will.
Right.
That open water
Makes sense.
open water is pretty much harmless to them.
Mhm.
So that I've had an eagle pick up a mallard and a bluebill over the years that we couldn't get out there quick enough to get it, and an eagle came by and picked that up. But no, that's big shark. Ran into a big shark. It was the 3rd week of December. In 2013, the duck boat at the time was 25 feet long, and the tiger shark was, you could see this. He hung out with us. It was pretty easy to see him.
Yeah.
But he had to be half the length of the boat. So whatever you want to call him, 12. I always say 12, 13 foot.
Sure.
But that was something that really got my attention. And up to that point, I always had a dog with me, and as long as the birds were dead, send a dog, and I didn't think much. I didn't think much about it.
Yeah.
The shark experience made me feel a little irresponsible over the years of how often, again, if it was dead, the dogs love to do it. And I'd let them, swim all day long there.
Interesting.
So
you got to be pretty far from shore, right? There's regulations on being way out there.
So although there is no more special sea duck season in Maryland to target open water ducks, specifically sea ducks, you must be 800 yards from any land. So that's the minimum distance we need to be.
What kind of depths are you working in there?
And it depends anywhere from like on Chesapeake Bay, the back bays, 8 feet deep to up to 70 feet deep. So
Okay.
it just depends.
So how are you dealing with that depth with your setups? What are you using for decoys?
The decoys I'm using are pretty much everything, my own made birds. Currently these days, I call them the Foamzillas. Basically, it's the biggest lobster float I can find, 9-inch by 16. Cut it in half, put it on a bottom board, and put a nice silhouette head on them. But I'm running 12 of those on a long line. On the upwind side, I usually put about 30 pounds. I'm using window sash weights that are 15 pounds each or so. So upwind side, I'm using 30 pounds. Downwind side, I usually can get away with just 15 pounds. I anchor the boat up. I leave the anchor in the water. I have a float on the boat, a float on the line. So when we get a bird, just pitch it off and we can go run over there. I don't reset the anchor every time. But I use long lines and heavy weights.
That's got to be pretty rewarding using your own decoys that you carve.
It really has. Way back in the day, the Brant rig was entire. They weren't mine. They were friends' birds, and I was still using plastic sea ducks. And it would have been about 2009, I think. Anyway, that's kind of when I made the switch. I was like, hey, I'm doing the whole decoy thing. Like, I need to shoot over my own birds, kind of thing. And so that was about 2009 is when I made the switch over to my own sea ducks.
What year did you get into carving?
Way before the guiding, probably
Okay.
1992 or 3.
Gotcha. So if somebody's looking to come out and hunt with you, what kind of things could they expect?
Well, I do everything. Currently, Steve Hoover calls it the world's largest duck boat. It's a 32-foot duckwater. It's the ocean model. I've got a 350 Suzuki on it. I have up to 6 very large seats. The seats are 24 inches wide. They're big, comfortable seats. And that would be a comment that I get a lot, that, hey, this is the nicest seat I've ever shot ducks from. But now what to expect? Expect a good time. It's a gentleman's hunt. You don't have to. You're not shooting wood ducks, so it's not the first 45 minutes to an hour. If anything, as it gets brighter, they fly better. You don't have to shoot your limit out of this flock. Let's take our time, especially now it's only three bird, 3 bird per person as far as scoter go, or really any scoter, old squall, or eider. I usually meet about an hour before sunrise, and hour before gunning time. Get out there. But again, the boat's plenty big. People bring coolers. I always say bring more than what you need because there's plenty of room in the boat. We get set up, and then it kind of happens. And my two biggest problems are if it's too windy, that wind makes waves. So if it's too windy and the ocean is rough and we can't get out on the ocean, the backup spots are not going to be as good. The flip side of that is when there is no wind and it's like glass, they fly, but man, we're sitting there in a 32-foot boat. The decoys aren't moving, and they'll come up to the decoys, and maybe if you have 50 yards, that was about it, and they're gone. They're not going to decoy nice. So I do need a nice chop, a nice wind to make things happen. But I'm can't control the wind, can't control the weather. But yeah, again, like if you bring a good attitude, you're going to have a good time. And it's the kind of thing where you don't have to shoot your limit out of this one bunch coming. The more the morning goes on, they fly better. And the thing is, a lot of times today too, is it's like a bucket list hunt where they need a surf scoter or a common scoter or a white wing, or they need one up, right? So it's not, in the beginning, it was all about volume. They needed to shoot their limit. And today I have people call me, hey man, do you think we can shoot a surf scoter? I just need one. And yeah, I think we can do that. Let's come. So they come with that attitude where they don't need to shoot a boatload of them. They need to shoot one to say they've shot it, to get their picture, to get it mounted, whatever the case may be. It's a bucket list hunt for them. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
So I get a lot of new guys, especially in Pennsylvania, where they're pretty limited to the waterfowl opportunities we have here. And some of them might say, I'm new and I don't think I'm ready to go on a guided hunt. But, I just tell them, hey, these guys are professionals. Just let them know when you call them to book the trip. I'm new to this, and they'll walk you through it. I mean, I'm sure you've had plenty of newer hunters that might have had a lot of questions. And how did you handle that?
Well, my phone, I always tell people, my phone's always on. Text or call. The question I can't answer is the one you don't ask. So it's not, I'm always very open. Again, I can't really, I know generally what the questions, more or less I'm going to say itinerary, but the timeline I just told you, that's probably the biggest question. Like, hey, how does this really work? What are we doing? How long do we hunt? How many birds should we expect to see? That kind of thing. But I will say this, I know there's a strong DIY, movement out there that everybody wants to do it on their own. But I myself, if I want to shoot a bird specific, I need to go with somebody that is knowledgeable and specialized in that species that I want to target. So I think that's really where, if there is some negativeness, I don't go on guided hunts. Well, there's certain birds that you're going to have, you're going to have to.
No doubt.
Yeah. I always tell people too, you can be people that don't, I think people that are very curious to like what I'm doing. I always say, hey man, you could be the most avid waterfowl hunter from Kansas. You can shoot geese and puddle ducks and everything that you have. And you've got everything you need to do. But I said, there's a certain amount of birds out there that specifically sea ducks that are generally typically, 90% are on salt water. You're going to have to go to the East Coast or the West Coast. So you're maybe, you don't have the boat. There used to be, I used to have to buy a $5.50 gunning rig license where there was actually a boat size requirement. Or now today you don't have to buy that gunning rig license anymore. But to be legal in Maryland to shoot shoot open water ducks, shoot sea ducks, you must have a Maryland resident with you. And guys will be, like, oh, wow, that's just to protect me. I was like, no, I think it's really to protect you, that, again, you're not coming from Kansas in a canoe thinking you're going to go out, even on the Chesapeake Bay and go shoot sea ducks on your own, because it's, you do need certain equipment, specifically, seaworthy boats to day in and day out to do this.
Absolutely. One thing I enjoy when you go through the season, you're on there every morning laying out what you're going to do and calling out whatever day it is. Day 50 of the Maryland waterfowl season. You're always smiling. How do you keep that passion alive year after year?
I love what I do. I mean, I truly do. I get up at 2 a.m. and I'm not going to meet my guys till 5:30, quarter of 6. I never want to be late. I love to take my time. I get up and I'm especially when it's cold out. Like, there's not many people out doing what we're doing, right? So forget about duck hunting. When I'm driving, usually make my first stop to Wawa. I don't pass many vehicles going to Wawa. You know what I mean? So it's that kind of thing where
Right.
I like to get up. I like to be on. I want to be waiting on you. I don't want you waiting on me. But to rewind, man, I love what I do. I feel very fortunate that this is the way I make my living.
Yeah, it shows.
Yeah, thank
I
you.
appreciate that.
Thank you.
So where do you see Pittboss Waterfowl in the next 5 years? Do you have anything on the horizon that you plan on adding, or are you just going to kind of keep doing what you're doing?
Karen and I were just talking about this yesterday, that maybe to stretch out my longevity in this career, because I truly don't have an exit plan currently. Am I going to retire? I don't think so. But I guess maybe something that may physically help me out. And I've had a couple people tell me, again, kind of the is it legal? But I really want to do a spot lock trolling motor on the duck boat where I won't have to use an anchor. In theory, I won't have to use an anchor.
Okay.
I'm gonna mount it. If I always anchor from the stern, so that everybody's downwind of me. It's about if we anchor from the bow, I'm in the best spot. When I anchor from the stern, you'd be in the bow. You're in the best spot. The birds come up, they cut across the bow, or they decoy very nice. So I think if that spot lock trolling motor, I said that might help me get a couple extra years out of my guiding career. But now I'm just going to keep doing it. Doing it till I guess I can't do it anymore. So
Okay.
Yep. That's I don't know if that's a good way to look at it or not. But truly, I don't have. We talk about this all the time, and it's maybe like the last year and a half to 2 years. People will ask me this, that, and the other. Like, what am I really going to be doing? I was like, I really don't have an exit strategy. So
Yeah.
I'm in it full. I'm in it 100%. So this is what I do, and we'll see how long I can do it.
Well, you seem to got it dialed in. So really, it's just fine tuning a little bit here and there, maybe.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's just we have some plans here. I don't know. Here, so like jokingly, I call this PBHQ, Pittboss World Headquarters. 3.5 acres here in Whaleyville. We built an 8,200 square foot barn-dominium, big shop, living spaces behind me, and we wanted to do basically have some lodging here, and I need to get the lodging done. So that would be something added into the future that people can actually stay here. I don't think everybody will stay here, but I have people, this coming year, hey man, if you get the lodging done, let us know. We'll stay there. That kind of thing. So kind of
Very
more
cool.
do it, not that I'm a big entertainer, but come and hang out. The decoy shop's here, the dogs are here. Let's cook something. Let's eat, drink, have a good time. Let's get up, let's go shoot ducks tomorrow. Let's come back and do the same thing in the evenings,
Absolutely.
that kind of thing. So hopefully that will be it's a little slower than what I've wanted, how I've wanted to happen, but that's still on our radar too, to get that done.
Okay. So you're always on the go. I mean, if you're not training dogs, you're carving decoys. If you're not doing that, you're hunting, guiding clients. If you do unwind, what is it? What's your go-to besides the good food that you're always smoking? What's your go-to after a long day?
Maybe a little Crown Royal Black. That
Okay.
always kind of helps ease my evenings.
Good
But again,
choice.
thank you. I get up early though, so again during duck season I get up early. But how do I unwind? I mean, I don't. Karen and I, Karen's my best friend. We're constantly together. She basically quit her job when we moved here to help me be more productive here. How do we unwind? We like to do things with the dogs, and the trips that we can take with the dogs. It's kind of us, if you want to say vacation, but that's kind of how we get away and we enjoy. We got Scoter here this coming Friday, she'll be in a master hunt test just up the road. So we enjoy doing that. We just kind of enjoy, not to be like corny to say we just enjoy life, but I mean, we enjoy what's in our
important.
life. What's in our life we enjoy. And that's part of the 3.5 acres here is not 100% fenced yet. That's still on the to-do list. But I mean, enough of it is that the dogs that we have, they live a good life here with us. We'd like to, specifically Scoter here to my left, get a master hunter on her, get her qualified all age, maybe get at least a half an all age point on her. We'd like to breed her. We just want to enjoy our lives. And I tell people, maybe it's an excuse, but I don't know I'm going to be here next month, but I want to be, but I'm not sure about next month, right? So I need to do today what we need to do, because if you keep saying someday I want to do this and someday I want to do that, someday never gets here if you don't do it, right?
That's for sure.
Maybe a little, I don't know. My mother's still alive, and if she was part of this conversation, she would tell you that I'm just saying that to justify doing what I want to do. But the truth is, you don't know when the end is, right? So
yeah, it's a fact.
You better do it. You better do it today. You better do it, right? Karen's mother, Karen's from Australia. Her mother is 88 years old. She calls us kids, but she'd say, kids, do today what you need to do. Do it. Don't wait. And the same with my dad's old. My mom and dad are 88, 89. My dad's health is not really good right at the moment, and he's remarried, and his wife is telling us, you better do what you want to do today, because the reality is that that's where we're going to be someday. So get it done today, and do what you want to do today. I don't mean to just throw caution to the wind and be crazy, but at the same time, nothing wrong with taking a little bit of risk here and there. And again, right. You don't know I have a friend that tells me he's playing long ball, that I need to play long ball with him, but he's half my age. Your long ball is much longer than mine. Please, I've had some people get on. Sorry about the dogs.
That's all right.
I've had some people get on me. Scoter is 26 months old. I've got big aspirations for her, and I've done a lot with her. And we were in South Carolina in February, and a dog trainer friend, a younger fellas, he's saying, hey, man, you might be pushing her a little bit. Maybe you're doing a lot with her. She's young. I looked at him and say, hey, man, you're younger than my daughter. And it's a whole thing of again, I don't know I'm going to be here next month. I need to do today what I need to do today with her. And eventually he said, point taken. And we're at different stages and different places,
Sure.
So, again, I don't know if that makes sense or not, but I really
Absolutely.
I really do. And Karen, she's right on board with me, is we need to do what we want to do now. Because, who knows what's going to happen in the future, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So,
yeah. And with so much negativity in the world today, I love to see people I know enjoying life, like you said, and watching you and Karen. And I want everybody to have that. I'm living it myself. I'm very blessed. The good Lord's been good to me and my family. And like you said, you never know. So
you don't.
That's some great advice right there, my friend.
I'm just the old guy now. So I will be. I didn't say the age earlier, but in a couple weeks I'll be 60. When I turned 50, it truly didn't bother me, except for the fact is, here's the beginning, here's 50. The ending is probably closer than the beginning.
Yeah.
But 60 may actually, the number 60 may actually bother me.
Yeah, I could see where you're coming from with that. I turned 50 in October, and I thought it would bother me a little more than it did. It really didn't, but you make a lot of sense on the other end of that.
Yeah, I mean, and the number 50 didn't bother me, but again, it did put on the horizon. I was like, hey, go ahead, go, come on, go. Oh, she's being stupid. She's up in one of these chairs with me and won't jump down. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
But yeah, it didn't. Again, it just alerted me is hey, the ending's probably closer than what the beginning of all this is. So now you turn. Really, what happened was we bred one of our older female rye, and she had pups a year ago February. And I'm thinking to myself, it's a great experience. If nobody's ever had a litter of puppies, whelp puppies, it truly is to me it's a really cool experience. I've only done three over the years, but where I'm going with this is, I would say that the dogs are, in my mind, a lab we've had one cancer, got a younger one at 8 years old, but everybody else has lived like 12, 13 years old. So I'm thinking, man, these puppies just real, sitting there thinking about it. I'm like, okay, 10 years, 12 years, like, whoa, wait a second. In 10 years, I'll be 70.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's why 60 bothered me. I was like, holy moly. And Karen's like, yeah, it doesn't really, it's just a number. It's just, it's just a number. I was like, yeah, but like the reality
Put it
is,
in that perspective, yeah.
yeah, but the reality is when these guys are 10 years old, I'm going to be 69, 70, 71 years old, depending on how long they live. And I said, that's, wow. Like I need to, I need to get stuff done with them. Again, I guess that's my whole theme of like, you need to do what you need to do now.
Absolutely.
Don't wait on it.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time. I've got some rapid fire questions for you to wrap up if you're ready.
Let's do it.
What's your favorite waterfowl recipe?
Anything pretty much on the grill. Actually, I shared one tonight, a Scoter one Karen came up with, where basically, to me, not to go off on a tangent, but specifically with Scoter and Brant, it's all about, they're not fishy. They're going to be strong. They're going to be iron-rich blood, so you need to soak them out. But basically, she makes up a little ponzo sauce, some bacon and jalapeno, and we do them on the grill.
What's in the ponzo sauce?
I have it written down.
I'll have to look it up.
I can send it to you. Off the top of my head, I don't know. But she kind of worked on it a little bit. But again, what I would say to anyone is the key in all this is like they need to be soaked out 2 to 3 days. And try changing that water and get the blood out of them.
Interesting. What's your favorite shotgun?
I'd have to say a Benelli.
Okay.
Although I do have, in same kind of family, I do have an older Frankie over and under that I've enjoyed shooting over the years too.
Gotcha. Very nice. What's your favorite snack in the blind?
Man, usually during duck season, and I'm currently in that mode too. Like I try not to do carbs and sugar, so it's going to be anything protein. I'm not, I used to be the little Debbie guy way back in the day, and that's not who I am today. So anything protein based, and kind of during the season it changes, but it's either it's just going to be anything protein based.
Okay. Personally, do you prefer to hunt marshes, lakes, rivers, or big water?
Come on, man. Honestly, day in and day out, I want to be on the ocean for the guiding.
Awesome.
Personally, again, we go to PEI. I do enjoy the diversity of shooting ducks in a field, shooting geese in a field, and shooting ducks on small creeks and small creeks and small pieces of water off the big water. But day in and day out, definitely is the ocean is the place I want to be.
Yeah, these last two, I think we already got the answers to these. I always ask if you like to boat, kayak, or walk in, but I think you got that pretty sweet boat that you like to get out on in the ocean.
Well, that or again, like specifically PEI is the most fun hunting that I do. It is nice to be able to drive in a vehicle to the field or very close to the water. So, but yeah, day in and day out, I'm boating in.
All right, my friend. Well, I appreciate you taking the time tonight. I want to give you a chance to let everybody know where they can find you.
Brian, I appreciate you having me on. Thank you very much for reaching out, and I enjoy following along with you, specifically on Instagram.
Thank you.
100%.
Appreciate that.
Yep.
Yeah, look him up, Pittboss Waterfowl. He's on Instagram. He's got a website. You're booked out for all next year, or do you got some spots?
I think I'm about 10 days are still open now for the 2025-26 season.
Good deal. Yeah, I'll have to keep in touch whenever you get everything set up down there. I'd like to come down and check out the shop.
More than welcome to visit anytime you like.
Appreciate it, brother.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.